Hello, and what the heck, man? There's fireworks going off inside my house. I'm just kidding. It's a background. What is up, everybody? Found this cool background. I figured you guys would like it. Today's video, we are going to look at the review guide. Oh, I just covered my face up. Where am I? I'll show you guys that review guide in just a second, but we are going to look at that review guide today for your upcoming quiz, your 7.2 quiz, which is on the PowerPoint that we just completed, 7B. Okay, it was about agriculture and pesticides, and erosion, and all that fun stuff. So let's change this background so it's a little less confusing or distracting. We're going to go to a regular old background, you know, none of the above. Hey, look at that. We are back inside the house in a safe place, away from all of that scary fireworks stuff going on. So this is what we are going to be going over today, the review guide. All right, so hopefully you have yours completed, you're sitting down, you're ready to go, you're ready to check out all of these answers. Make sure you have the right answers, and we will begin. And I figured the best way to do this, instead of me standing over there up at the whiteboard or me just having a conversation with you, I think what we're going to try this time is we're going to have a conversation, but I'm going to bring up the PowerPoint. Let's see, I'm going to bring up the PowerPoint here. Hey, there's Daisy right there on the main screen. I'm going to bring up the PowerPoint, and we're going to be able to go through this PowerPoint, and I'm going to show you exactly where these answers are, where they were in your notes, so that you guys can easily find these quickly. Boom, boom, boom. That way you can study for this quiz and ultimately get a wonderful grade and do an excellent job on this. So without further ado, let's start right at number one, and let's start to go over this review. All right, so number one, how did agriculture begin? How did agriculture begin? Well, if we're looking at this, we see in this slide right here that agriculture began about 10,000 years ago. And we can see it was kind of like speckled all over the world. You know, we had the eastern United States, we had the sunflower, and Central America, we had corn and squash, and over in Africa, we had the coffee bean and sorghum. China, we had rice and wheat. All right, Papua New Guinea was bananas. So on and so on. We saw agriculture beginning about 10,000 years ago, and we changed from this hunter-gatherer aspect to now this stationary. We're going to stay in one spot. We're going to spread seeds and see what grows, and we all of a sudden have now just adopted agriculture. So there is the answer to number one. Okay, number two. Describe the progression of traditional agriculture to industrialized agriculture. So what are we looking at when we talk about traditional agriculture and industrialized agriculture? Well, originally, traditional agriculture was man. It was animal. Everything was powered by the horse, by the oxen, okay? They pulled the hoe to till the land. There was no fossil fuels. You should use good old-fashioned horsepower, guys. All right, this was before the Industrial Revolution. Then all of a sudden, we go to industrialized agriculture, and now we have machinery. No more animals unless they're food, but no more animal work, right? We have machinery, mechanized farming. We have the use of fossil fuels. We have large farms with higher yields on smaller land, okay? Completely different from traditional agriculture, where we needed, if we wanted big yields, we needed a lot of land. It was all manpower, right? Now you have these machines going in and seeding the crops, right? They are fertilizing the crops. They are picking the crops. It's not a one-man show anymore. It is like this factory that's moving in and out and has all these moving parts. So it's the difference between traditional agriculture and industrialized agriculture. All right, number three, what is sustainable agriculture and what are its pros and cons? Well, if we go to this slide right here, sustainable agriculture, it says that sustainable agriculture is something that can be sustained over time, meaning we are not depleting the soil. We are not depleting its its nutrients. We are looking for low till, which means we're not going in and digging up that soil as often as normal, okay? We're kind of letting all the little organisms in there rebuild and restore the nutrients in the soil, Okay, there's no use of synthetic fertilizers. Okay, we're using natural fertilizers, good old-fashioned manure, cow poop. Mm. We're also not really going for large-scale farming. Sustainable agriculture lends itself more to small-scale farming. Okay, that was number 3. All right, number 4. What was the Green Revolution and what were its pros and cons? All right, Green Revolution. Let's jump down to this one right here. The Green Revolution, it was a new way to farm. It introduced new technology, new machinery, increased crop yields. It was basically a revolution of farming. Now, the good parts, the benefits, the pros, increased crop yields, meaning we grew more crops. We did it on smaller land. Because we didn't need as much land, we also decreased the deforestation, meaning that we didn't have to cut down a lot of trees in order to get more land to farm more crops. Now, the cons, on the other hand, with all of this machinery, we led to a 7,000% increase in energy usage, which means more fossil fuels, which means more pollution. We also went to desertification because we're constantly farming on the land, which means we're not giving it a chance to rebound, right? To revitalize, to get those nutrients back in. Increased pollution and increased salinization too. And salinization, remember, is the increased amount of salt in soil. All right, let's move on. Ooh, the next one, definitions. Number 5, what is erosion? Well, right here, erosion is a process by which material, usually topsoil, is moved from one place to another. Okay, the process by which material is moved, picked up, transported, and dropped from one place to another. And usually that's your topsoil, your upper layer of dirt. Desertification, okay, right here. Desertification is usually where the soil will go and turn and become less fertile and become essentially a desert. Okay, that's what desertification is. We're taking fertile land and changing it into unfertile land. A desert, desertification. Our last one, soil degradation, that simply is just the breakdown and loss of fertility of soil. Okay, the destruction of soil fertility. All right, number 6. So there are 6 farming practices that we use to reduce soil erosion. So let's go through and take a look at those 6. They are all conveniently located on one slide, so this is very nice. So the 6 are intercropping, crop rotation, shelter beds, conservation tillage, terracing, and contour farming. So what exactly are those? Well, intercropping is where you're planting different crops together. Okay, you're intermixing them. Crop rotation is where you take maybe your tomatoes in farm A one year and you move them to farm B the next year. And now maybe your corn go to farm A. You're constantly moving your crops from different to different areas of the farm. Shelter beds, those are tall plants that block the wind, meaning if you ever notice like how on windy days, the trees will block a lot of the wind, right? It's the same practice. They'll plant taller crops like corn to shelter, right? Shelter belts. I'm sorry if I said beds before. Shelter belts to shelter the more delicate crops. Okay, so those corn lines will be on the outside of the farm to shelter the more delicate crops on the inside. Conservation tillage, conservation meaning we're not doing it as much. Tillage meaning, digging up the soil. So conservation tillage means we're not digging up the soil as often as we normally did, which kind of prevents the loss of fertility. Terracing is now taking a steep slope. Remember when we showed this, I showed this on a video, we carved it out. You're farming essentially on mountains, so you're making use of land that would not have otherwise been used for farming. And then contour farming, that is this picture right here. We're essentially planting to the contour of the mountains or the contour of the hills. Okay, these are all things that reduce erosion. All right, number 7. We're almost halfway there, guys. Number 7, what are the different types of irrigation practices used? All right, so we're going to go through these. We're going to go from the least efficient means of irrigation to the most efficient way of irrigating. So the least efficient type of irrigation would be furrow irrigation. If you remember furrow irrigation, that's where we pretty much cut these furrows, right? These lines in between the crops. This is the oldest type, but it is the least efficient. It is the most waste of water, 65% efficient. If we continue on with flood irrigation, that is the next type of irrigation. It is a little bit more efficient, but not the most, by any means, not the most. We flood the entire field. This could promote weed growth. It's about 70 to 80% efficient. Let's take one step further, go to an even better type of irrigation, that is spray or sprinkler, right? Right? That's a little bit more efficient, 75 to 95% efficient. However, still not the best, not the best. There is some water waste, right? Irrigation, you have these water droplets flying through the air, not necessarily a pinpoint type of watering, which brings us up to the best type of irrigation. The best type of irrigation is drip irrigation, okay? It is water that is delivered directly to the plant roots, is the most efficient, over 95% efficient, the least waste of water, the best type out there, okay? Those are the main types of irrigation that we would use. So hopefully that clears up number 7 for you guys. All right, number 8, what exactly is soil salinization? Now, salinization pretty much means salt. So soil salinization is the accumulation of salt in soil. And this occurs from overwatering. Remember, fresh water, even though it's fresh, right, it still has salt in it. And the more we water, the more salt that's deposited into the soil. Now think about on a nice, hot, sunny day, right? The sun right there, that's hot, right? It's hot. Woo-wee. That will evaporate more water. Water evaporates, but the salt is left behind. So you get the accumulation, the buildup of these salts in the soil. That's soil salinization for you. Number 9, the end of the first page, pesticide use. So what exactly are pesticides? Pesticides are any poison that are used to destroy pests. Now, the pests can be organisms, right? They can be any poison that's used to destroy pests. These can be insects, rodents, weeds, right? Herbicides, rodicides, insecticides. Now, remember we talked about a narrow range pesticide, which really pinpoints one type of pest, and we talked about like broad range pesticides, which kind of like just take out everything. We always want to err and use the narrow range because we want to pinpoint the pest that we're trying to dispose of. We don't want broad range because that's going to take out other organisms, maybe organisms that are important like pollinators. That's going to be another question later on. But pesticides are any chemical that is used to destroy pests. You're trying to save your crop. All right, guys, that is page 1. I am going to stop the video here. We are going to continue with the next questions 10 through 18, and that will be on the next video. So I hope to see you guys there, and I will link that video up. Let me put me on big screen. I will link that video up right there. See it? It's right there. Okay, right here, right there. Don't forget about it. It's right there. So I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.